It's another episode of the States Up podcast as we tell the stories of the student athletes here at Texas State. I'm your host, Brent Freeman. We've been jumping all across the sports for the fall. Last week we talked Bobcat soccer with Maddie Goss. We also visited with Jackie Lee from Texas State Volleyball. Our first guest in the video series was Nash Jones from Bobcat football. And we are back talking Bobcat football today as we are now 2 weeks away from game week and the opener when the Bobcats take on the Baylor Bears to kickstart the 2023 year and the new era of Bobcat football with G.J. Kinney. And something that we know about Coach Kinney was the big roster turnover over the offseason. 72 new players added since the end of last year. A bevy of those up front on the offensive line and also a big crop of receivers. Some of the names that you have heard include Joey Hobart, for Texas State. Beau Corrales is a name that also has come up among the newcomers at receiver. In fact, Beau is our guest in this week's podcast. He joins us now. Beau, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me on, and I'm excited to get to talk a little bit about Bobcat football.
Yeah, certainly so, Beau. We're looking forward to it as well. And kind of looking at the stats here a bit, first-year transfer from SMU. Your measurable 6'4", 215 pounds, so a literal big target. Senior out of Georgetown. I say senior, a seventh-year senior for you as well. This is your seventh year of college football, so you're one of the elder statesmen out there. How does it feel to hear that, by the way, 7 years now of playing college football at the Division I FBS level?
Yeah, around here we call it a super duper senior. So we've kind of been around the block for a little bit. With that, obviously, comes a lot of knowledge. I feel like I've been around college athletics for a while now. Obviously, it doesn't hold a candlelight to what these coaches have, but I at least feel like I kind of have a pulse on kind of what it takes to be a successful team and what it could take to be a not as successful team. So just trying to use the knowledge that I've gained over the years that I've been in college ball and trying to spread it to the young guys around on the team and trying to help those guys out the best that I can and really just use the tools that I've been kind of building over the last 7 years to help us win games.
So your first 5 years you spent in Chapel Hill at North Carolina playing for the Tar Heels out of the ACC. Spent last season in Dallas playing a little bit closer to home. Again, you're from Georgetown, just north of Austin, playing for the Mustangs last year. You look at your stats throughout your first 6 years of college ball, 86 catches, over 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. As you kind of reflect on your first two stops at North Carolina, SMU, and your first 6 years, playing, what stands out in terms of what you've been able to accomplish with the game so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's kind of just helped me build confidence in who I am as a player. Obviously, I've had run-ins with injuries and trying to stay healthy and stuff, but that's also, that's part of the game of football, and so you just got to kind of battle and deal with that the way that those cards are dealt to you. But really, I think that the success that I've had on the field really just builds that confidence for myself and lets me know that, whenever I'm healthy, I can really do this, and I got confidence that, there's nobody in the country that can cover me with my size and speed and just, like I said, having proof of that and doing it in big Power 5 conference settings and stuff. I know that I can play the game really well whenever I'm healthy. So that's my main objective right now is just making sure that I stay healthy and doing the things that are in my control to help all the injury prevention and stuff and just staying on top and making sure that I'm really doing rehab and exercise and doing all the preventative stuff. Because like I said, whenever I'm healthy and ready to go, I feel great and I feel really confident. So I feel like I'm in that place right now. and surrounded by a bunch of other really good, confident playmakers and stuff. So it's been a really exciting camp down here in San Marcos, and it's been fun getting to practice with these guys and shape kind of the culture and the team that we want to be this year.
Yeah, and again, some of those receivers, I mentioned your name. I mentioned Joey Hobart, Sean Shaw Jr., transfer from Iowa State, Shadid Ahmed, transfer from Marshall. Some of the guys who are back from last year, Ashton Hawkins, Charles Brown, Julian Ortega-Jones, the receiver position really deep, this season. But I want to kind of go back in time with you a bit. I mentioned first 5 years at North Carolina, last year SMU. You go back to your senior year at Georgetown, playing for the Eagles, a really good program north of Austin, and you initially committed to Texas State. Ultimately, though, as we know, you ended up switching commitments to North Carolina. Shortly after you had made the decision to switch commitments, you'd got offers, from Iowa, Indiana, West Virginia, Vanderbilt. So the Power Five came calling. Certainly, it's understandable why you made the decision at the time. If you could tell us, what went into that for you way back your senior year of high school.
Yeah, I was kind of a little under-recruited through my junior year. I had a handful of offers, but Texas State was definitely the one school that was like really kind of making that line of communication open to me and making it known that they wanted me over here. So going into my senior year, I thought it might be safe to go ahead and go with the school that I know that wanted me most. And so that's why I made that decision to go to Texas State. And then after my first game, my senior year, was able to do really well and just started having, like you said, had those Power Five offers start coming in. And that was the first time that I ever really felt like, I guess, a real recruitment experience. And so decided to just take a step back for a second and just play my senior season out and see where that led me. And ultimately, North Carolina was actually my last Power Five offer. But whenever they made that offer, they were just very adamant and communicative and made it known that they really wanted me too out there. So I took the visit and absolutely fell in love with Chapel Hill and the team over there. So decided to make that decision to switch to go up there and had a really great time. And like I said, I love Chapel Hill, and it was a great experience for me, not just as a football player, but as a man and getting to kind of grow up a little bit outside of my home state of Texas. It was really unique for me getting an experience outside of there because truthfully, I never thought I was going to be leaving the state of Texas. I always grew up kind of with the plans to stay in the home state and just taking that uncomfortable decision to go out of state and kind of grow up a little bit definitely shaped me as the man I am today. And I'm really grateful for the experiences that I had out there.
So we mentioned your recruitment to Texas State in 2016. So you fast forward 7 years later, and you've made the decision to transfer out of SMU. Texas State comes calling again. You obviously have been familiar with the program based on where you were from in Georgetown, having been recruited to San Marcos before. So this time around, why was Texas State the best fit for you?
Yeah, I think that's an easy one with the coaching staff. I mean, obviously location was really important to me. I mean, it is, I can't even put into words what a blessing it's been to be in school, like right down the road from where I grew up. Because, I mean, like there's already been a handful of times now where my parents have just been in the area and they're like, hey, do you want to go grab dinner? So it's my brother, my mom, and dad, and we all four go grab dinner. And like we haven't had quick and easy dinners like this, like that we can do that since since my brother was in high school. So, I mean, we're talking almost about 10 years ago. So it's been a long time since we've been able to have that kind of family aspect that I really, really appreciate. So being able to be close to home was also major for me, but I can't say enough about this coaching staff, man. I really, really like Coach Kenny and the energy and vibe that he brings to the team every single day. And then the staff that he hired with him. I mean, they're all, for the most part, pretty young guys and all have like the same kind of energy to them. And it makes coming to work out and coming to go through meetings and stuff, it makes it fun. And it's always energetic. A lot of guys kind of fall into the lull of like getting to that halfway point of fall camp and stuff. Like you're just kind of beat, tired. It's meeting after meeting. But I mean, yesterday we had our tight ends coach Bryant, breaking down with some dance moves in front of the whole team room right before getting the meeting started and stuff. So like, I mean, it's always something with this staff, keeping us on our toes and keeping us energetic. And so I really appreciate them for that. But just through that whole recruiting process, Coach Kenny was just super genuine and let me know that if I made the decision to come here, that I was going to be taken care of, not just as a football player, because obviously, like, I really want to make this work out. I wouldn't be doing a 7th year of college football if I didn't have aspirations of making things work out. But just also as a person and as a man, Coach Kenny was, like I said, was just super genuine and made me feel like I was right at home, and definitely made San Marcos feel like it was the spot that I needed to be at.
Getting back to your time, though, in Chapel Hill for a moment, it didn't take long for you to make an impact. In fact, understand that you earned the nickname Big Play Bo your freshman year at North Carolina after a couple of touchdowns in a conference game against Miami. What do you remember about those touchdowns in that game and getting that nickname?
Yeah, it was actually pretty funny because one of our quarterback at the time was also a Texas kid. And it was his first career touchdown, getting it out to me and stuff. So it was cool getting to experience that with him. But yeah, I mean, it was just a blessing, really getting the opportunity to step into that role and say, like, you know, I can do this. I can make plays at this level. And as a freshman, obviously, that builds a lot of confidence. I mean, there were some guys that unfortunately had gotten injured the games prior to Miami, which led to me having the opportunity to get that playing time. Because I mean, I'm so old, man. I was playing before they had the 4-game redshirt rule. So it was, if I played, I was burning the red shirt. And so definitely didn't want to waste that year. Had the opportunity to go out there and play a few plays, and I just wanted to make the most of it whenever I had the chance. And so that's exactly what I did. I was able to go out and make some big contested catch plays. And that's kind of where that name kind of just spawned and stuck. And I was grateful for it. And it's always fun having your teammates hype you up like that and stuff. Like I said, it just leads into that confidence and excitement of playing the game.
You know, one of the quarterbacks you played with at Carolina, Sam Howell, and one of the big news that came out in the NFL earlier today is that, as we record this podcast, is that Howell just earned the starting job with the Washington Commanders in the NFL. What was your relationship like with Sam Howell?
Oh, it was really close. Sam's my dog, man. I was actually roommates with him my last year and a half there at Carolina, so I really got to see kind of who he was outside of football, which for the most part, like, a lot of people will think he's a little bit more reserved and stuff, but I mean, he's just your average dude, you know. I mean, like, loves playing Madden, loves hanging out with the boys, playing some video games and stuff. And so he was just a really great guy and a really hard worker. I got to see all the time that he spent, like, watching film and dedicating himself to football outside of the facility, which is, I mean, you're already putting hours and hours of work in the facility. So seeing his work ethic and his drive to continue, like, to better himself whenever he wasn't putting those hours in outside of the facility was definitely inspiring for me. And it was just he was just a really great and genuine guy. Like, I loved being around him, and it was fun getting to be his roommate for a little bit while I was up there. But just a really class act guy. I love him and wish him the best. So I was super pumped to see that news this morning, seeing that he got the starting job, because I know it's really, really well deserved. Did you text him? No, not yet. I was actually like walking into our team meeting this morning as I was seeing it. So I need to reach out to him and tell him that I'm happy for him and congratulations still. You know, I mentioned your time, you know, Carolina and SMU, and when we kind of started the podcast, did know that you've had to battle through some injuries. One of the reasons why you're in the 7th year now, the COVID year, medical redshirt freshman year, giving the opportunity to extend your career. Between 2020 and 21, 3 surgeries for you. Well, how tough has it been for you to battle through all that and you know, to stay in shape, overcome the injuries, and still be at this point? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been frustrating at times. It's been eye-opening. It's been a learning lesson. You know, I mean, like, there's so many different things I could pull from this experience of kind of being right at the cusp of the pinnacle of your dreams. Like, you know, I really kind of had high hopes and dreams and thoughts that, like, in 2020, that was going to be my year to really get an opportunity to solidify my chance to get drafted to the NFL and stuff. So being right at that edge where I think I finally made it, and then kind of reset and then tell myself, you know what, I got next year, 2021 season. Like, I was totally focused and bought in on that. and then to have a third surgery right before that season gets started. Obviously, it's super frustrating, to say the least. But at the same time, I stand really firm in my faith in God, and I feel that I wouldn't be the man that I am right now if it wasn't for those experiences that kind of really shaped me and shifted me into a more patient and relentless worker. Because I mean, I know at the end of the day, as long as I'm controlling the stuff that I can control, it doesn't matter what's happening around me or what's going on to me. It's more about how I react to those things and those situations that's going to really pay off down the line. So I feel confident and still very positive, even though it's been kind of setback after setback for the last couple of years. But I mean, I'm super blessed to be in the position that I am in, to have the opportunity to still get another year of college eligibility back and to prove that I still got ball left in me. It's been a blessing to just be playing football in college, man. I mean, like the guys on this team, it's definitely special, man. And you can't beat the camaraderie of college football, you know. So to get another year back of getting to hang around some really cool people like on this team down here in San Marcos, it's just a blessing. And every time I look back on it, even though, like I said, it's super frustrating to go through all that, man, I wouldn't change a thing, because it's led me to a lot of new relationships. It's led me to a lot of new experiences. It's led me, like I said, to this opportunity of being close to home and getting to spend some more time with my family. So there's just so many positives I can pull. Obviously, like there's negatives too to it that I could look at, but I choose to not look at those as much.
Yeah.
I try to keep my head in the right place, and like I said, I think that God and my faith has a lot to do with that, and so it's been fairly easy to keep my head that way and to keep looking that way, because it would also be just as easy to kind of go down the other road of shoulda, coulda, woulda, should have been this way or whatever. But no, I think I got a really good support around me through my faith and my family and my friends, everybody that's been there for me through that whole process of trying to bounce back through several injuries and stuff. So I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for all the experiences, even though I know some people would look at that and say that's kind of weird you're grateful for it. But no, I'm absolutely grateful and blessed for everything that's happened.
You know, one of the positives that did come from it was, I understand that when you got hurt at Carolina and were out for the remainder of the season in one of your years there, you took the opportunity to kind of serve as a pseudo coach for the receivers during that time. What was that experience like, and do you see a future for yourself perhaps in coaching?
Yeah, I mean, it was really just kind of my way of, like, how can I keep my mind occupied? You know, like I didn't want to be, like I said, going down the wrong road of being just feeling self-pity and stuff. So I was like, okay, what can I do while I'm not playing that I can, like, help out the team? And so, like, I mean, I was doing weekly scouting reports. I would write down, like, all the DBs tendencies and stuff for my receiver group. I would tell them my thoughts on it and stuff, and was just trying to help, like you said, kind of coach up as much as I could and offer my experience and learnings to those younger guys, which was like a super talented room. So I knew that they were special over there, and that if I wasn't able to contribute on the field, then I could at least contribute mentally and help them prepare that way. And so, like I said, just trying to do everything I could. And as far as coaching goes, I mean, I've always really enjoyed helping others get better. Like I work out with younger guys from my high school and stuff all the time, and kind of do like some position specific training. I feel like I got the receiver stuff kind of locked down now by this point. And so I feel like I got a lot to give and teach. As far as coaching goes, man, I have no idea. I think it kind of just depends on how this next year goes for me, and would like to feel it out a little bit, but I wouldn't put coaching out of the picture for me for sure. I think that that might be a road to kind of look into someday.
Mm-hmm. You know, you've overcome a lot, Bo, not just, the injuries, but I understand when you were 12 years old, you were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So how did you first learn that you might be diabetic?
Yeah, that was actually a rough one. It was actually type 1. So I was, yes, sir. Yeah, no worries. But I was it's kind of hard to describe the symptoms outside of, because I mean, like when your blood sugar gets that high, like you just lose energy. You just feel really lethargic. You feel out of it. My eyesight was one of the first things to go. I remember sitting in 7th grade math class, and I was sitting at the back of the class, and like 2 days ago, I was able to read the whiteboard. And then on that day, like whenever I really started to feel the symptoms and stuff, I was like, hold on, like I can't read the whiteboard anymore. So like, it was just like a bunch of like small alarming, kind of things that just kept building up. And so I went to the doctor's office, and my physician at the time actually wasn't in. So they had me see a nurse. They thought that it was allergies at first, just from my symptoms that I was telling them about. And I was on allergy meds for maybe a week and was telling my parents, like, look, like this isn't allergies. Like, I don't know what the heck's going on, but I'm getting worse and worse. So they took me back to the physician. My doctor was in, and right away he knew it was type 1 diabetes. So he called an ambulance for me and had me get bussed over to a Dell Children's hospital, where obviously like they kind of gave us the rundown and stuff, told us what it meant to have type 1 diabetes and how I was gonna have to manage it and stuff. And I mean, my parents were an absolute mess. Like they were kind of just broken down. And I remember my dad in the hospital room just asking the nurse, like, can it be something else? Can it be anything else? Just really just like searching for anything. But I mean, my like naive little self, I didn't really fully understand what a lifelong disease meant. But at the same time, like the forefront of what I was thinking of was can I still play football? You know, like that. We were just starting football season up, and the doctors told me, like, they're like, you know what, it's definitely going to be harder for you. It's going to be a lot more responsibility to manage. But they told me, but yes, like it's possible. Like people do play sports with type 1 diabetes, and then boom, that was all I needed to hear. I mean, I perked up, was smiling, and my head was just completely locked in on how can I best manage this so I can put myself in the best position to go out there and play sports like a normal kid. And so that was really huge for me. And like I said, I mean, if you couldn't tell already, I'm big on turning adverse situations into positives. Like I really believe that type 1 diabetes has had a huge hand in kind of shaping and molding the mental fortitude that I have, so that whenever I did run into these injuries and stuff, I mean, it wasn't nothing new to me. You know, I know how to respond to situations where I'm not feeling good and where I want to feel bad for myself. But mentally, I can flip that switch and kind of change the perspective on it to help myself out, so that I can kind of better the situation instead of make it worse.
When COVID hit in 2020, being a Division I athlete and, playing through type 1 diabetes is difficult enough. Added a pandemic into that. What was that point in time like for you, given your condition?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, there was a lot of questions about like how it was going to affect us. I mean, like especially diabetics and stuff. Like there was a lot of concern and stuff. So with all the different news that was coming about like, I mean, nobody, especially whenever it first came out, like I felt like nobody was on the same page as far as like the severity of it, what was going on, how, like what the precautions should be. So there was a lot of confusion and definitely some worry there. But ultimately, I mean, I was back home in Texas and really just working out. Like I was by myself almost the whole time, just doing football stuff. We ended up, my high school that I graduated from actually has a jugs machine there. And we snuck over there and borrowed it for a little bit. So I had my dad's just shooting jugs machine out to me every single day, just trying to find any way that we could get some work in. So it was definitely like really secluded and stuff. But I thought it was also like a really great time for me to kind of to focus on the stuff that I wanted to be focusing on. So just kind of use that break that we had to my advantage and try to get as best as I could during that time that I had by myself and with my family.
Mm-hmm. So at Carolina, you earned your degree 2 years ago, graduated in December of 2021. So when it comes to what you're studying here, academics at Texas State, what is it you're pursuing?
Yeah, I'll be doing a graduate program that's online. It's their like organizational workshop leadership program. It's going to be all online, so I'm hopeful that after I leave after the semester, it's going to be something that I can still pursue and finish while I'm away from campus. But yeah, that was a really big deal for me, especially at SMU. Like I had the chance to, whenever I got in the portal in December, I had an opportunity to try to leave and get somewhere early and try to be there for the spring to learn people's offense or whatever the case may be. And I talked to my parents about it, and we decided that I was going to stay at SMU and make sure that I got my master's degree, because that was really important for me too. Like if I'm going to be sticking around playing college ball as long as I have been, like I want to use it and take the advantage of the opportunity at hand. And so I want to just get as much of an education as I can with it. And my parents and my family kind of joke around a lot, man. Like, if I had played my cards right, I could have been going for my doctorate at this point. But we'll settle for a master's and a bachelor's and an associate's degree. So I'm really excited and really grateful for all the education that I've been able to receive through playing football, because this definitely was not on my plate or in my head going into college. Never really planned to be here at this point, but like I said, that's just another blessing that I was able to find, is that I was able to get a lot of education paid for with these opportunities.
Before I let you go, Bo, and anybody that's listened or watched the podcast knows I always, find interest in this, and that is student athletes' ink, their tattoos. I've seen that in practice. I can see a bit right now, the arm sleeve you got on your left arm. Tell me about the significance of your tattoos.
I appreciate you asking me that, man. Not a lot of interviewers are asking about the tats, but yeah, I mean, I kind of grew up. I grew up knowing that I wanted tattoos, probably around like the age, like as young as maybe like 10, 12, like that middle school age. Like, I was like just really fascinated by people being able to like pick significant art and like put it on their bodies and stuff. And so I think by the time I was like 14, 15, I was like already asking my parents if I could get a tattoo, and they were like, heck no. But they said, whenever you're 18 and like you have money to make your own decisions with, they were like, you can choose to make those decisions if that's what you want to do. So this whole left side in my chest, I got done pretty early in college, but I mean, all of it has significant meaning all throughout my arm and stuff. A lot of the stuff on my arm is more like family based. I got a lot of family meanings in it, as well as on my leg. I have my right leg done, and it's also significant to me that I don't have this arm tatted, So like my mom, like I said, she wasn't the biggest fan of the tattoos and stuff. So I promised her whenever I first started getting tatted that like this arm would stay clean. I was like, this one is dedicated to mom, but I also have some stuff that's dedicated to mom on my left arm and stuff. So there's a lot of kind of meanings throughout my tattoos and stuff. And I feel like my tattoo journey is still on its way, but I'm really happy with where it's been so far and stuff. And I'm really grateful that I've had the opportunity to figure out and kind of use my imagination to create some pretty cool and meaningful pieces that I really like and appreciate. And like I said, whenever things get tough or times get tough, it's really easy to kind of like look down and see something and like, your why, I mean, like you can feel sorry for yourself whenever it's 110 degrees outside and you're running sprints and you're like, man, why the heck am I out here doing this on a 7th year, 24 years old, running with these 17, 18-year-old cats. But you look down and your why, why you're here, and stuff. And so that's what the tattoos mean to me. And I appreciate you asking about that.
You got it. Well, Bo, it's been great getting to know more about you. You've overcome so much throughout your career. The fact that you've been able to get a bachelor's degree, working on your master's degree, all that you've accomplished with the game of football and outside of it, very commendable. Excited to see what you could do on the field here at Texas State, and best of luck this coming year, Bo.
Thank you so much, Brent. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you having me on for the conversation, man. Thank you.
You got it. Well, again, that's Beau Corrales joining us on the State Sub podcast. He and the Bobcats open the season in 2 weeks on the road against the Baylor Bears in Waco. And that's going to wrap things up. For Beau Corrales, I'm Brant Freeman, reminding you to keep your States up, and we'll see you next time.